Hello, hello, welcome to this section of the SEPR, the self-eliminating practice routine, where we are going to master our minor scales in just 8 steps. So we're going to use the cage system as our foundation. We can build our 5 minor pentatonic shapes. Instead of calling these position 1 to 5, which is a big mistake, we're going to call them by their cage name. That's the very, very important starting point. We have to understand this because otherwise, once we start looking at the major pentatonic and all the major scales, what do we call them? Because in the beginning, when you learn this, it seems like they look the same. Position 1, so to speak, of the minor pentatonic looks the same as position 5 of the major pentatonic, and it all becomes very strange. And which one's one? And doesn't make any sense. You move on to the second position in minor pentatonic, which is like a D minor shape. That looks like the first position of the major. So which one's 1 and which one's 5? And it all becomes really strange very quickly. It's kind of the first problem guitar players run into. And we eliminate that by just calling them by their cage name. So this is an E minor shape. And the second position, if we're in major, that's an E major shape, or it's a D minor shape if we're in minor here. So, and that's really, really important to understand. And to make it even more obvious and to train our eyes and hands and brain to recognize these shapes, we want to start and finish on the root note all the time when we practice all of these. So this self-eliminating practice routine will take care of all of this in just 8 steps. Now they're quite big steps though, but still all you gotta do is put the time in. So you make it a daily routine, you do a little bit every day, maybe 10-15 minutes, maybe twice a day maximum. You don't want to spend like hours and hours and hours on this. You want to spend most of your time playing songs and investigating songs really. So let's say you play a vocal melody that is using the minor pentatonic, and you do that in all different shapes. That's much more important than practicing your minor pentatonic up and down. So this SEPR here is designed so you can learn these shapes, and it's very efficient at it, but that's it. It doesn't do more than that. It just teaches you and your hands, and you can understand how they're built and how to see the intervals, and then you gotta go and use them. So don't forget to play songs. Don't spend too much time on this every day. Think of it as a section of your practicing, and then it's perfect. The first step we're gonna do is to learn the 5 minor pentatonic shapes. We do that in all shapes, then all keys as well. So once you've taken all 5 shapes through all 12 keys, you're ready to move on. And you move on to connecting the minor pentatonic shapes. We do this in 2 ways. We do it up and down the neck, and we also use an exercise where we move from closest possible shape. So still using the cycle of 4th, which is what we do when we move it around all 12 keys, but we do it closest possible shape instead. So that's the first 2 steps. And then it gets even more intense. So the third step is the minor blues scale, and here we learn all those 5 shapes in all 12 keys, and then we connect them and we play them through the cycle of 4th. So everything that we did in 2 steps for the minor pentatonic, we do in just 1 step for the minor blues scale. Same thing with the conspirian scale, which is a scale I invented. It's a bit hilarious, but you know, look into that one. It's fantastic, and you'll see why it makes sense. The Aeolian is in step 5. That's the natural minor scale. That's what comes with chord 6. We do that in all 5 shapes, all 12 keys. We connect all the shapes, and we play them closest possible shape using the cycle 4th as well. And then we have Dorian in step 6. Step 7 gets very intense. You do Phrygian and Phrygian Dominant as well. We all 5 shapes, all 12 keys, and connect them. And then the final step is a minor modes master exercise, and that's including the blues and conspirian scale as well. So what's different here to the major modes, or the major scales rather, is that when you completed these 8 steps, you've actually played all 12 notes. So you played the notes from the minor pentatonic is only 5 notes, and then you fill in the missing notes for the modes, which is what we do in the major scales as well. But then also you learn the notes outside of that, which means that at the end of it you will have played all possible 12 notes, which means you can put together any minor scale. Any scale that anyone can throw at you, which is minor, you can play because you played all these exercises. That's not the case with major. In major, we miss out the flat 9, for example. We miss out the minor third. We miss out the flat 6. So there's still more scales to learn in the major world. And major scales basically start, they go this way and they have the third there, or they go this way and they have the third there. Minor scales have the third this way. So there's still some work to do with scales when it comes to major scales after you've completed the SEPR. But when it comes to minor, this is literally it. If you want to play, for example, melodic minor or harmonic minor, you'll see that after all these 8 steps, you can just play those intervals because you understand where the intervals are in relation to the minor caged chord shapes. That's the real benefit of going through this. So in just 8 steps, even though I know every step is a big step, right? It's gonna take you a few weeks on every step. Just a few sessions a day maximum. Say 2, 10 or 15 sessions a day you spend practicing this, and you can do this in your own time, you know. Before you start practicing something else, you can just run through it, because once you understood the concept, you can do it whenever. You don't need to even look at my videos. There's no tab. If you read this as tab, it'd be a disaster. You gotta keep your focus on this fretboard and see these shapes, and it'll all work beautifully. I'll see you in step 1, where we start working on the 5 shapes of the minor pentatonic.